Getting to work by cycling is a brilliant way to save money, stay active, and avoid unreliable public transport. But what is the best bike for the job? Should you go for a good old-fashioned manual bike or plump for something a bit more powerful? We're going to take a look at some of the benefits of cycling to work, break down the potential cost savings of commuting by bike, and I'll be putting these to the test on two very different commutes to find out what's best. But before we get ahead of ourselves, I'd like to say a massive thanks to Trek for sponsoring this video and providing us with both of these lovely dual sport hybrid bikes, along with this nifty commuting gear that you see behind me. Now, before I go and find out which of these bikes handles my commute best, let me give you our top 5 reasons why you should cycle to work. Firstly, it's a great way to work some exercise into a daily activity. Now, this can help you to get fit without you having to go anywhere special or feel like you're doing a workout. And for a really keen cyclist like myself, you can even bank some more miles, or if you're really keen, add in an interval or two. In rush hour traffic, a bike can be the fastest way to get across the city. In my books, that's extra time for breakfast. Over the course of a year or two, the bike can work out far cheaper than public transport or a car. It also might even make your car cheaper to own through reducing your yearly mileage. Speaking of public transport, you can avoid its unreliability. Under your own steam on a bike, you'll be far less affected by strikes and roadworks. And finally, it is a genuinely nice way to get to work. Okay, so there are some bad bits like January, but an active commute has been shown to boost mental and physical well-being, as well as being good for the planet. Okay, I hear you cry. But what if there is a massive hill in my path? This is a genuine barrier for many people, so I've devised a little bit of a test to see if we can conquer it. We're going to go from here, just outside of Bath, over to the Trek store on the other side of the city. There's a direct way, which is about 8 kilometers, or I can go the scenic route on a canal path. That kicks the distance up to 12 kilometers, but it is perfectly flat, whereas our direct route, well, it goes over a stupidly steep hill. I'll do both routes on both bikes to give you a flavour of how each bike gets on. I'll even put my heart rate monitor on so that we can see what my old ticker thinks of each bike. Right then, let's go.
Cool. Onto the cycle path now. No more traffic until we get to Bath. Beautiful. The one thing that I will say about this cycle path is that the surface is gravel, and while it is bone dry right now, we're in the middle of June, it does get quite muddy in the winter. So for me, an essential of a commuting bike is mud guards. Now the bike I'm on has space for pretty big tyres, plus the space for mud guards, which is really, really handy, especially over these rougher surfaces. It means that you can have all the comfort and the protection from the muddy splash up. A consideration that you might be making is whether to go 1x or 2x for your commute bike, and I think it depends on the terrain that you're going over. For this, I quite like having the big outer ring. You know, you can get some speed up, especially when the wind's behind you, and that feels like you're flying. That's really nice. The 1x system though, it is similar. Oh, the climb has started. Manual bikes and climbs. There's testing your legs, and then there's just get sweaty before work. Yeah, the heart rate is up now. I'm about 170. Oh, my max is like 190 something. Oh, finally. Oh, thankfully, there's now a big downhill into town where I can get some air through my helmet and cool down a little. into the city now. Do like that. It's very pretty lead. Even once you get into the city, I do like having wider tyres, just because the surfaces are so broken. Like this bit of brokenness. Ow. Well, I'm nearly at the Trek store on the manual bikes going over the hill. And I have to say that it was the hardest one to do. It would certainly get you very, very fit very quickly. That motor actually is really, really helpful for, starting off. A load of pedestrians on this path and in town, and if you need to get back up to speed quite a few times, then that's quite tiring. Having a motor is really, really helpful. I have to say that as someone who uses panniers on a road bike, having the motor to help you with the extra weight is also really useful. The rack also has a secondary benefit. On a hot day like this, it leaves your back free of that rucksack and you can stay nice and cool. Another thing that I love on this bike is the integrated lights that are controlled down by the little control unit just down here. It's so easy to turn them on as and when needed. And that's the e-bike run done on the scenic route. I have to say that most of the time the motor isn't actually overly useful, but then when you get into town, it's really good. Wow, that's easy to say that the easiest and fastest ride of the day goes to the e-bike in the most direct route. It absolutely crushed that hill.
Now that I've caught my breath, I can guess what you might be thinking. What if you don't have a bike? Surely the initial cost of buying one is going to be what puts many people off. Well, let's break out the calculator, crunch the numbers, and see what my actual commute would cost. I live here in the lovely city of Bath. It's in the southwest of England, where it is always sunny and perfect. My workplace is in the centre of Bristol, and I have options of how to get there. The ride can be done on the main road, taking me roughly 40 minutes. I'm very lucky though. There is a cycle path route covering the majority of the journey. It is flat but a bit longer, and going this way takes me about an hour. I'm also lucky enough to have a secure place to leave my bike with showers and a place to dry my riding kit. I sometimes take the bus, mostly when the rain is really lashing down. If it arrives on time, I go from door to door in around an hour and 20 minutes. The return journey is £4, which I think is rather reasonable. I'm certainly not complaining when it's really hammering it down. Then there's the train. That's the fastest actual journey time at just 13 minutes. But there is a fair amount of walking to do at either end, and I've only got little legs, so that takes it up to 44 minutes. The real stinger with the train is that it costs £10.60 for a return, but that pales into insignificance compared with the cost of driving. Getting into Bristol in the morning takes around an hour and 10 minutes. The diesel costs roughly £8 per day. Parking is easily a tenner, and that's before you consider Bristol's clean air zone, which for my slightly outdated Skoda means I pay a £9 charge per day. Let's just say that I've never driven in. The bus then might seem like the cheapest initial cost, but not everyone has access to public transport, and the cost might spiral up if you have to get more than one bus. With all of that said, you might still be undecided about which sort of bike to go for. Do you stick with the classic, lighter manual bike? Or would the help of battery power be useful to you? I'm sure I'm not alone here, but my thinking is that e-bikes could be the future of transport for most people. They help you to get off the mark quickly, which can be useful at junctions. The motor can allow you to keep up with city traffic, which can result in fewer cars overtaking you. And there is just no doubting their ability to flatten out those pesky hills and save time. That said, if your budget limits you to a manual bike, or you just don't want the assistance of a motor, then the traditional bike will be perfectly suited to flatter commutes and those that just fancy testing their legs up the climbs. As a keen cyclist, I even use my commute as a form of training, but I know that this isn't for everyone. If you want to learn more about e-bikes, watch our excellent video which explains all that you need to know. The link is just up there. Thanks once again to Trek Bikes for sponsoring this video and providing the wonderful steeds that we've used today. Remember that if you found this video helpful, then like the video, subscribe to the channel to see more from us, and we'll see you in the next one.